the secret code behind Sonic the Hedgehog. You have been chasing a blue blur for 30 years, and you never stop to ask why the world behind him is screaming. You know the surface-level story, a cool, spike-haired mascot with a way-past cool attitude, running through loops, collecting rings, and defeating a bumbling scientist in a flying egg. It is marketed as the definitive high-speed escape of the 1990s. But when you apply a forensic lens to the original 1991 code and the disturbing lore hidden in its manuals, the game dissolves. What remains is a clinical record of a biological liquidation. Sonic the Hedgehog is not a game about speed. It is a high-fidelity archive of a world undergoing a biomechanical breach. It is an architectural record of a natural paradise being systematically dismantled and encoded into a metallic nightmare. In the same way that we might analyze the missing demographics of Kanto to find a war, we must look at the inhabitants of Mobius to understand the tragedy hidden in plain sight. This is the Machine God Protocol, a world where life is no longer a birthright, but a fuel source. Welcome to the Green Hill Zone, a world where the hero is the only thing standing between a forest and a factory, and where every enemy you destroy is a victim you are trying to exhume. To understand the true nature of this world, we have to look at the badniks. This is the foundational horror of the Sonic universe, and it is documented in the 1991 instruction manual. Dr. Ivo Robotnik, known as Eggman, is not building artificial intelligence. He is not creating robots with silicon chips and logic gates. He is practicing organic transmutation. According to the technical record, Robotnik captures the innocent animals of the forest, the flickies, the pockies, the rickies, and he encodes them into metal shells. These animals are not just inside the robots, they are the live batteries. Their nervous systems are hardwired into the circuitry to provide a biological power source that machinery cannot replicate. This is the Sidecat LLC of the Sonic world, the one piece of evidence that turns a cartoon villain into a practitioner of industrial body horror. Every time you pop a robot and a small bird or squirrel jumps out and runs away, you are not just winning a fight, you are performing an emergency extraction from a pressurized metal coffin. The badniks are not soldiers, they are biological slaves trapped in a machine god interface that forces them to attack their own protector. It is a world of industrialized parasitism, marketed to children as a fun afternoon. Now, let's perform an architectural audit of the level progression. In almost every Sonic game, the journey follows a specific, devastating pattern. You start in a paradise: Green Hill, Emerald Hill, Mushroom Hill. The grass is vibrant, the water is pure, and the sky is an unbroken blue. But as you progress, the architecture of conquest begins to take over. By the midpoint of the game, you are in the chemical plant, the oil ocean, or the starlight zone. The water has become toxic purple sludge. The grass has been replaced by neon-lit girders and concrete. By the final stage, you have reached Scrap Brain or the Death Egg. This is the environmental decay blueprint. The game is a chronicle of a lost war. Dr. Robotnik represents the radical, unchecked industrial revolution. He does not want to rule the forest, he wants to delete it. He wants to turn every organic atom into a perfectly optimized gear. The Labyrinth Zone is not an ancient temple. It is the ruins of a civilization that failed to stop the machine. The game teaches you that the machine god is inevitable, that no matter how fast you run, the forest is always being paved over behind you. If you want to see the logical conclusion of this code, look at the Sonic CD Anomaly. The game, released in 1993, introduced a time travel mechanic that allows the player to visit the past, the present, and the future. But it is the bad future that serves as the definitive knowledge noir record. In the bad future, the vibrant 16-bit music is replaced by distorted, industrial metallic clanging and dissonant, haunting melodies. The sky is a toxic brown. The trees are rusted husks. The water is a viscous, oily black. This is not just a level theme, it is a simulation of total victory. It is what happens when the machine god protocol is allowed to finish its work. In the bad future, even the animals are gone. There is nothing left to encode because everything has already been consumed. The silence of the organic world in Sonic CD is the most disturbing leak in the franchise. It proves that Sonic is not fighting to save the world. He is fighting for a past that is already being erased by the future of the machine. Then there is the Chaos Emerald Protocol. We are told these are magic gems that give Sonic power, but a technical audit of their energy output reveals something much closer to nuclear volatility. The emeralds are sources of infinite, uncontrolled energy that can warp reality itself. In the lore of the labyrinth, the Chaos Emeralds are the ultimate assets that both sides are trying to weaponize. When Sonic uses them to become supersonic, he is not just getting a power-up, he is surrendering his biological form to a high-energy, radiant state. But look at how Robotnik uses them. He builds the Death Egg, a moon-sized space station capable of planetary destruction. This is the extinction interface. The war for the emeralds is not a fairy tale. It is a Cold War metaphor for the control of atomic energy. The supersonic state functions as a nuclear deterrent, a biological life form becoming a weapon of mass destruction to stop a mechanical life form from doing the same. It is a world on the brink of a total reset, where the only thing keeping the world spinning is a hedgehog's ability to contain the energy of the machine. But the most chilling part of the record is not the machines, it is the government cover-up. For this, we must look at Project Shadow. This was the Manhattan Project of the Sonic universe. 50 years before the main events of the games, a clandestine military organization known as GUN sanctioned a secret experiment on the space colony Ark. They were looking for the ultimate life form, a biological entity that was immortal and indestructible. This is the demographic leak of the state. The researchers, led by Professor Gerald Robotnik, were not just studying life, they were trying to engineer a god. When the project became too successful, the government did not simply shut it down, they liquidated the facility. The historical record shows a cold, clinical military raid where researchers were executed, and a young, innocent girl named Maria was shot in the back while trying to save a child-sized experiment. This shifts the Sonic narrative from a nature versus industry story into a state-sponsored massacre investigation. The hero is not just fighting a mad scientist, he is living in the shadow of a government that has already proven it will commit genocide to hide its scientific sins. Now let's perform a psychological audit of the rings. Have you ever asked why Sonic loses his rings when he is hit? In the lore of the machine, the rings are not money. They are a protective biofield. They are the data buffer between Sonic and the lethal environment of the machine. As long as he has one ring, his biological code remains intact. The moment he hits zero, the environment wins. The ring loop is a simulation of resource management in a hostile system. It teaches the player that survival in the industrial world is entirely dependent on your ability to constantly harvest energy from your surroundings. You are only as safe as your latest transaction. The speed of Sonic is the final distraction protocol. Why do we love the blue blur? Because we too are living in a world of industrial decay and environmental collapse. The speed is our coping mechanism. If you stop moving in a Sonic game, you are forced to look at scrap brain. You are forced to hear the metallic clanging of the bad future. You are forced to see the animals trapped in robots. The speed is a digital drug that prevents us from realizing that the machine god has already won. Sonic is the prophecy of the 90s, a warning that if we do not stop the industrialization of the soul, the only thing left will be a blue blur in a world of rusted metal. Look at the boss architecture. Why is Dr. Robotnik always in a vehicle? Why does he never stand on his own 2 feet? Because he is the first post-human. He has completely merged with the machine. He is the unit of total integration. He cannot exist outside of his interface. He is the architect who became the system. In the same way we looked at the Nurse Joy entity as a standardized unit, we must look at Robotnik as the final code. He is what happens when a human mind is completely consumed by the desire for efficiency and control. He does not have a heart, he has a chaos drive. The silence of the sonic world is the silence of the atmospheric breach. Have you ever noticed the sky chase levels or the space colony levels? The world is literally falling apart. The machine god is taking the fight into the stars because the Earth has been sucked dry. This is the planetary extraction protocol. The Death Egg is not just a weapon, it is an escape pod for the elite. Robotnik is building a new world in the stars while the organic world he encoded burns below. Observe the score at the end of a level. You are rewarded for time, rings, and enemies defeated. This is the metric of performance. The system is grading your efficiency as a biological disruptor. Even as you fight the machine, the system is logging your data to build a better machine next time. You are participating in a self-optimizing war. The next time you hear that iconic Sega startup sound, don't look at the loops. Look at the gaps in the machinery. Observe the live batteries running away from the wreckage. Listen to the industrial clanging hidden behind the pop synth music. Feel the weight of the rings in your hand, not as a toy, but as a life support system in a world that wants to delete you. We have been trained for 30 years to think this industrial conquest is a game. We have accepted the bad future as a simple design choice rather than a warning. But the historical record suggests otherwise. Sonic Team didn't just build a mascot, they built a world where the machine is the only thing that lasts. You think you are the hero of this world. But in the world of Mobius, you are just the latest biological anomaly trying to outrun the inevitable. The forest will always be turned into a factory, the animals will always be turned into batteries, and the only thing waiting for you at the end of the loop is the Death Edgy.